All right, guys, my name is Darren, AKA StormPow, and today we have gotten Tyler, AKA Nanogenix, on the Nimbuscast Podcast. How'd I do?
I give that a solid, you're probably a solid 7 out of 10 gamer. Does that sound?
Damn.
Is that good?
That's acceptable.
The all right wasn't too raspy, but it might wear your voice down if you do it too much, because I might be going to the doctor soon to see what's up with my voice. So I wouldn't recommend doing it too crazy. Some people have been asking me lately why I don't do it as much anymore, and it's because I think it's actually hurting my voice, which sucks, because a troll one time told me, if you keep doing that like that, Nano, it's gonna hurt your voice. And I said, all right, dude, whatever. And I actually think it is.
I mean, I can feel it a little bit. So like, I imagine, I don't know how you normally record your videos, but if there was ever a day where you like sat down and recorded like multiple videos on the same day, that would probably begin to hurt.
Yeah. I'm just like really loud, like all the time. And like, since doing this like YouTube thing, I think I've just like started to do, my wife is a teacher. So she's like, you're doing a projected voice. That's what we have to do as teachers. Da, 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 da. And I didn't used to do that. And she's like, so what I think you're doing now is you're probably using a projected voice just all the time. Like you're always on. She's like, you're definitely way louder. You were always loud, but now it's just constant loud, like all the time. And so I'm wondering if that's what it is. But yes, even especially the all right, because it's just so like, it's so raspy and just like, you're supposed to get it from the gut. And I don't know if I'm actually doing that right. I'm sorry, I'm talking so much. Go ahead.
No, this is literally, this is the time to do it. But no, like, because I was trying to think of like how to do it, and it's like you do kind of pull it from the gut. Like what I was imagining was like old OG, like Kyle Hebert, like next time. Like you almost pull like that kind of voice, but like not quite as like dramatic. I don't know.
Yes.
But it did hurt a little bit more than I thought. I'm not going to lie. So much respect. And so you mentioned your wife already, which is like interesting, because I was thinking about it. I was like, so I'm a married guy as well. I've only been married like not even a year though. And I don't get the opportunity in this community to talk to other married guys. So how long have you been married?
We just celebrated 7 years in March.
Awesome. Well, congrats, man.
Thank you. Yeah, no, same. Really, the only, man, I'm about to out myself on some of my friends right now, but the only real like 2 people I can think of that are married that I talk to like a lot are Danny, Jadentastic, and Rob, Choctopus. That's it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't really like, like, especially when I don't know, it's not the most commonplace right now. I assume like if you give it, if I'm still existing in this space and like 4 or 5 years, people start getting into their 30s, I bet will be more of the creators will be like, not the single life, right? Or at least hopeful, if that's what they want, but it's great, man. Yeah. I love it, dude. She's my rock. And she's the one that I had her on a Q&A with me. We did one a year ago, and I was looking. Sometimes I'll go back through my analytics and I'll look at what I did the year before in that month and see if I can bring some inspo like from one of those videos. And I looked and I was like, it's been almost exactly a year since we did this Q&A. So like, weirdly enough, if I do it again next year, I guess it'll be like a routine thing. Like, well, it's time to do another one of these Q&A videos. And in that, I talk about how like someone asked me a YouTube question, and I looked at her and she's like, why are you looking at me? And I was like, because you literally hear more about all this YouTube stuff that I go through than anyone, period. Like I go to her and I talk about all kinds of things. And she's always there. And even though she's not like super deep into this world, obviously, and sometimes she's like, I don't know. What I don't know what that even means, but like, she's still just always there to like put input to it. And like her and I have known each other so long, like we're quote unquote like high school sweethearts kind of. And so like it's just yes, but it's great. And how's your almost first year been for you?
It's been awesome as well. What were you about to say? I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, what's your wife's name?
Oh, her name is Shantina.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, it's always really I guess unique or whatever. Whenever I tell people that, they're like, what the but But yeah, no, and it's been great. And I like that you mentioned like the whole, like, she'll kind of listen about the YouTube stuff, because like, obviously I don't do this full time. So like, I don't, have like as much to talk to her about it, but like, whenever I mention to her, like, I'll start talking to her about like, oh man, this video is performing XYZ and I think it's because of this. Or I'll be like, oh, I just got this new piece of equipment and it'll allow me to do this, this, and this. And like, it's kind of like what you said. Half the time I'm like, she probably either like doesn't care, doesn't really fully understand what I'm saying, but just like, the fact that she'll just sit and like listen and like let me kind of talk shop or whatever without, like zoning out. I mean, I'm sure like, your wife, she'll talk about teaching stuff and, and I mean, you don't have any idea what the hell's going on, but you're just like, oh man, little Jimmy,
little Jimmy
bastards.
Yeah. No, when it's a 1 out of 10 day, it's like, all right, crack open the Moscato and get the steaks out. We're having a good night. And then when it's 10 out of 10, it's like she goes for something in the pantry and I slap out her hand like, we don't have the money for that. It's a 10 out of 10 day. We gotta. What are you talking about? We're eating leftovers and put some like bread out on the table and call it a night. What are you doing? What is this? 10 out of 10 day.
No. Speaking of food that you eat on a 10 out of 10 day, I did not know that McDonald's had a spicy chicken sandwich until I saw your video about the spicy chicken sandwiches.
Well, wait, it wasn't a spicy chicken sandwich though.
Was it?
No. So I'm probably going to do a spicy chicken sandwich, and I reference spicy, but that video in particular was only chicken sandwiches. But same, because I had no idea that they had rebranded. Well, they didn't rebrand. The McChicken still exists, but they have like their fancier version. And I never in a million years thought that I would rank it as high as I ranked the McDonald's one. Which, I had some IRL friends that watched that and they're like, bro, I'm so disappointed in you. Like that McDonald's chicken sandwich is not that good. But yeah, same, which the whole chicken sandwich thing is also just a very interesting topic. I don't know if you've looked into that, why people are pushing chicken so much, but that's like, that's a whole nother crazy thing.
Wait, no, I don't actually know. I mean, I kind of know that like Popeyes started it and then like everybody else followed suit, but like, is there some drama?
Not drama, but it's just because of how expensive beef is getting, like, and how much just cheaper chicken is. Cause there's so much, they can produce so much more chicken easier. It's like less harsh on the environment, which is why like beef is going up, because it's getting costlier and costlier for like, I guess, them to raise cattle. And so apparently the reason why they're all pushing chicken related items so much, again, don't quote me on this, anybody, but is
chicken expert Nanogenix.
Yeah, I know. I did one chicken sandwich video. Now I'm like, but it's because it's cheaper for them to produce. And so like their profit margins, I'm sure, are way higher when they sell a chicken sandwich for $4.99 instead of some sort of burger for like $4.99, right? So like that's apparently why every single place is adopting some form of a chicken sandwich. Not to mention the hype, right? Like,
right.
I did a Google Trends video today. Speaking of Google Trends, if you look, like the hype of the Popeye sandwich back like pre-pandemic in 2019 was like crazy. Like it put the chicken sandwich at a fast food restaurant like so much more like in the scope of so many more people's minds. It's insane. So I think that's part of it too. But yeah, like the whole, it's cheaper and easier on the environment. I think that's why like so many places are like, you can go almost anywhere now, and get a chicken sandwich. I think like Whataburger has a chicken. Like I think everywhere has a chicken sandwich. It's like everywhere, bro. Everywhere.
And speaking of the Popeyes thing, like, and how crazy that was, I'll say it since I don't work there anymore, but at the time that happened, I had just recently started working for Postmates in their office, like here in Nashville.
Okay.
This was, of course, before they got bought out and everything, but like I worked in basically their customer service department, and literally, like, I shit you not, man, like the impact that had, like, kind of, I guess, whatchamacallit, like the rock skipping or whatever, like such a ripple effect. At Postmates, we were like they were paying like overtime out the ass because like we were so overwhelmed by like the amount of orders that came in through Postmates alone for like Popeye's chicken sandwiches. It was
Wow.
like we had drivers calling in and being like, oh yeah, like there's like a wait for like an hour, you know, am I getting paid for like all kinds of stuff?
That's crazy.
Yeah. But
I mean, yeah, the hype was so real. And I didn't have one until that video. Like it's been almost a year and a half, almost 2 years. I still had not tried one yet. And then of course everyone has also informed me that apparently it's not as good as it was initially. Like whatever they did to make it to where they could produce them faster or whatever, it's not as good. If you had the original within the first like month, it's way better. Is what I'm told.
Interesting.
Who knows though? You know, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, whatever. But yeah. And kind of going into like, I think we'll start with some of the more like quote unquote interview questions. Like I hate that word, but anyway.
You're good.
So what is something that maybe your audience doesn't know about you? Because I know like you share, of course, gaming, you know, fitness and stuff like that. You're pretty open about like all that stuff, but like what's maybe something that is a little bit more behind the scenes that you feel like sharing?
Behind the scenes. I'm trying to think of anything that they wouldn't know. Is there's some stuff that like I put buried down into a video, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I know from the analytics like 20% of the audience made it to this point, or you know, or something like that.
Yeah.
So I know that a lot of people didn't hear it, but I don't know. Like one thing is I have a bachelor's in computer science. I used to play golf on a varsity team. So there you go. Those two things I don't think too many people probably know about me. So
that's cool.
Boom.
I've only played golf like once as an adult. It was on my bachelor party. We were just kind of like, you know, hey, this seems like the thing to do. No, I've played Top Golf.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, Top Golf is real golf, but
True.
I didn't know if you were saying like that was my first time to play. But no, you went and actually, what, 9, 18?
We only did
36. Oh, okay, 9. Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of scrubs.
How'd you do?
Oh man, I don't even remember. I mean, it was literally just like drinking beer and riding around.
I was gonna say, were you drinking? Because that's, yeah,
yeah. And I mean, you know, at a certain point of like drinking during golf, like you don't care at all. Like I remember towards the end too. Like I mean, none of us are like golfers. You know, we just did it kind of just for the meme of it. You know, like. We dressed like all preppy and like dad, like, you know, to go do it and everything. And then towards the end, we were just like hitting the shit out of the golf balls just because we were also like pretty done with it by like 9. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I have the attention span for it.
I won't lie though. Like real talk. If you do ever just go out there and I sound like an old person, but like there is just like a vibe to it. Like I don't know how to explain it. And maybe it was just because like I hadn't been in a long time. Like just doing all this YouTube stuff, it's just like engulfed like my life, and I just haven't done anything like that. But I finally went and played golf for the first time in 5 years last year, again. And there was just something about being out there, like on this like beautiful course, right? Because that's the thing too. Like you're in this weird little bubble where just like everything is so like perfectly. It depends on the golf course you go to, but everything's just so perfectly kept. Like the grass is so nice and green, and it's just like. There's just something about it. And like, we went on the perfect day at the perfect time. It was like the perfect, like 72 degrees outside, little windy. It felt great. And it was just like, it was such like a vibe. I don't know. Yeah. It was felt so good to be out of the house and not just like walking around in the backyard or my neighborhood or whatever, you know, just like somewhere else. Cause I hadn't really done anything at that point because of all the stuff going on last year. But yeah, I think it's fun, but again, it also does take learning some skill. Like obviously going out there and having no previous like experience with golfing, like it's definitely not this thing if you think you're just going to go up and hit a ball and it's just going to go, you know what I mean? Like there's so much to it, unfortunately. But it's very rewarding if you want to put the time in, is what I will say.
Yeah, no, I definitely get the vibe because like instantly, like, we like I said, we kind of went just for the joke of it, you know, like, oh, haha, you know, boys trip, we gotta go golfing. And then like we went and like there was kind of this thing because it was in like Galveston, Texas, that area in I think like September or August last year.
I'm sure that was pretty then. Yes,
it was
very
fucking
pretty
gorgeous.
In Galveston. Yeah.
And like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like as soon as like your shoes hit the grass and like you said, I mean, just immaculate grass, you know, and everything. It is definitely a vibe, you know. It was like a little breezy. It was kind of like, all right, I can see why people do this.
Yes.
So I'll give it that. But with the computer science, I didn't know that necessarily either. I knew you were like, you know, pretty into tech, obviously, like as are a lot of content creators, but I didn't know, you know, you went that far with it. Did you do anything like, you know, with that much before going full time on content creation, or was that just kind of, you know, something beforehand?
Yeah. So so what I did prior, like the actual thing that I did prior to doing content full time, was I was an end user support analyst. Which in the tech world, a lot of people frown upon like the help desk like type job for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I remember when I was getting my degree, like we had to take we didn't, no, I actually think it might've been required. It was like a help desk style course. Just kind of went over some just general things that you might have to do if you did do help desk, because it's just like such a foot in the door at a like a company, period. You know what I mean? Like so many people start their journeys in IT through some form of support position. And so I remember when we took that class, like so many people scoffed at that class, and like so many, it was a very, my class was super mixed of veteran IT like people, where they had been in like IT positions for a really long time, and their jobs were skewing to where if you wanted to move up, the degree was required. And like, if you didn't have a degree, the years were like absurd. Like it was insane. Like a bachelor's degree would add like the equivalent of like, for some of these guys, I remember telling me like over a decade worth of work.
Jesus
like,
Christ.
Onto the requirements of the things, which I mean, we're talking about like software engineers. We're talking about like database admins. Like we're talking very, you know, maybe database admin 3, like we're talking very high tier level jobs. But yeah, so it was a very mixed class of like people like me that was like 19, 20, 21, you know, hadn't had like a job in IT, with like maybe some like 30s or 40s or even 50-year-olds that had been in IT for, you know, a couple decades. But anyways, when you would talk to the guys that were like older and had been in the industry, they didn't scoff at help desk like at all. But if you talk to the guys more my age, everyone was just like, ugh, help desk. You know what I mean? And so then when I got out, and I applied for several jobs, and the one that just like clicked was the help desk position. And that's the one I went to. And I remember when we all got back together, like a bunch of us that graduated, to like hang out and just talk about our jobs. Like I just kind of had a smirk on my face, and they're like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm in help desk." And they all just kind of like laughed. And I'm like, "No, actually, it's a really dope job. Like I loved it." And then I moved up from there, and I left as like what was classified as an end user support, is essentially the equivalent of like a couple tiers above. Like it was still sort of support, but it was like, so when things had already been tried on someone's computer before it ever got to me. Like I wasn't like the first like line of defense. I'm trying to think of like how to say that, but you didn't just get directly to me if you had a problem. Like the problem had to been like tried to be fixed a few times before I was there to resolve it. And then what was super dope, because I did have my background, and I didn't know really where I wanted to pivot yet from that. I was getting to do like, I got to set up like a server for like printers. So we were doing like this new like badge type concept where you could go up and scan a badge to like print off your batch of prints or whatever and stuff. So I got to like head that and set that up, and that was super dope, even though printers are terrible and the worst thing ever to have to work on.
Oh God, I hate them.
Yeah, printers are god awful, but regardless, it was still like getting the opportunity to do that. But at the same time, I was trying to do content, and I'm someone that like, I give 110% to everything I do, period. And the fact of like splitting the two, like the content was really taking off. Like I didn't quit my job until my channel had roughly close to 250,000 subs. Oh, wow. So we're talking like I was in it, bro. Like I had uploaded like daily for over a year before I actually stopped my job. On top of, I'd been uploading for 2 years at that point, very consistently, but I had started like this journey of daily a whole year and almost half before I quit. And so like, it was so much. Like, it was so much.
Yeah.
Like doing that job and then doing this job. And there's like an on-call aspect as well. That we had to do. So there was nights where I wouldn't go to bed until like 2 or 3, and then I'd get a call at like 2 or 3.
Christ.
I'm like, I just got in bed. No, like, oh God. And then like I had the best shift too. It was 7 to 4. I loved it so much. But when you don't go to bed until 2 or 3, and then if you get a phone call, and you were still expected, by the way, like like it wasn't like, poor you got a phone call at 3:30. Like, you don't have to come in until 9. You worked for an hour. No, you still need to be there. Like, there's no like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I had great bosses and everything, but there was just no like sympathy to like, well, if you had to work the night before, you can come in late. Like, nope, we still need you here at 7 a.m. So, which that didn't happen too much. But anyway, so yes, I did use my degree. Sorry, that was the most long-winded way of telling you that. But yes, I did use my degree with my position for sure.
Oh, you're good, dude. No. It was really interesting to kind of get that background, and it kind of like leads me into some other things that I was wanting to talk about too, because it's like, so I didn't know that, and it's interesting you say that like that was your role, because like currently I'm in what sounds like a pretty similar situation. So like right now I'm basically like the IT guy for like a small company. So like,
okay,
help desk is in my like job title, but like, I don't know. Whenever I think help desk, and I feel like this is probably where like the stigma comes in of like you were saying, you know, people don't like traditionally want to do like help desk stuff, is like, cause you think like customer service, you think, you know, like tickets and like call center, you know what I mean?
Yes. So I will clarify one thing too, just to add, probably exactly like you. I doubt you deal with customers, right? Like, you don't deal with actual customers that the company deals with. Is
correct. Yeah. Just employees.
Same. So our customers were the employees of the company. So like, it was, yeah. And like, obviously people make jokes of like, well, did you turn it off and turn it back on? Like, but it didn't like, if it seemed, that was like one thing, by the way, that was hugely frowned upon if we said that. Like, that was a very last line of defense, because no one wants to turn their PC off. You know what I mean? Like, no one during midday wants to do that, because then you got to boot all your apps up. And like, the company I worked for had a bunch of proprietary applications that sometimes would take forever to reopen and reconnect to the servers and all that junk. And so like, that's the thing too, right? Is like, what's the name of that show? What's the name of that show that like made fun of it? There's a show that's literally built, I think it's called like the IT crowd.
Yeah. Like the IT crowd, but the IT crowd. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And like it's all the memes of like what a help desk would typically do, or like a call center type thing. But that wasn't it at all, right? Like, that wasn't what we did at all. Like, customer service was, I'd say, massive thing within our department and in the company in general. Like, customer service was huge. Like, if anyone ever talked bad to someone, or someone talked bad to us, which, you know, all of it's recorded and stuff like that too. Like, and they always review stuff here and there. Oh my God. Like, it would not be good for whoever did that, because they took that so seriously. So yeah, it wasn't really like that. I loved my job. I would still be there if this wasn't happening. But it is. So that's dope too. Anyway, sorry. I just wanted to clarify, because once you said that, like, I do feel like so many people like picture this like contact center and this really crappy job or whatever, but it was actually super dope. So that's cool that it sounds like you are doing the exact thing that I used to do, just probably, if it's for a smaller company, probably on a smaller scale, I guess.
I'm imagining so. And yeah, like, that background was useful, because like you said, like, help desk can mean so many different things. But yeah, like, our company has like 80 something employees. So like, basically I'm the only one doing that job. It's just kind of like, you know, people message me and, you know, like, hey, this is happening. And it's funny you mentioned the like, turn it off and turn it back on, because I fucking hate when I have to tell people to do that. But sometimes that is legitimately the fix.
No, it is. Yes. Genuinely, sometimes it is. And like, and that was the thing too, is like, obviously our higher ups like always understood that. It was just like not a thing of like, you get a call, and the first thing you do is, well, have you tried turning it off and back on? Like, you don't want to say that. Like, we always just like, you know, would hop into the PC and see what's up, take a look at it. Like, it just couldn't be that thing of like, you know, you answer help desk. Oh, have you turned it off and back on yet?
Yeah.
Well, let's try that. You know, like you couldn't do any of that. Not to mention when you do have to do that, and I'm sure you're probably aware, people don't like that.
Yeah,
people,
because they think you just like threw something at the wall, but it's like, you know, like, and I don't like it either because it's like, you know, so like some guy messaged me today. He's like in an Excel spreadsheet and he's getting like this error about like an OLE link or something. And
oh my God, we had the exact same job then. If that's the kind of stuff.
Okay.
100%. But go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. No, but yeah, he's like, yeah, you know, my Excel is running like really slow and every like 10, 20 minutes, you know, this thing pops up. What the hell, man? And I'm just like, so like I did some research, found out like what that meant. And I'm like, okay, this is what you do. And I'm like giving him these like elaborate like things to try and do and you know, like reason behind it. And then like sometimes people will come with more simple stuff, just like, hey, my computer's running really slow. And I'm like, hey, like open up Task Manager. And they're like, you know, the RAM is running at like 90% and they don't even have that much stuff open. And I'm like, I mean, restart your computer. And I always like give them this spiel at the end. I'm like, you know, yeah, I'm like, I know it sounds hokey, but like that will clear your RAM and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, cause I feel like they're like in their mind, they're like, oh, you know, like they think it's a way more complex issue. And I'm just like, just throwing something at them cause I'm being lazy, but I'm like, no, this is legit. All you have to do, you know, it's, yeah.
Are you able to remotely see like data about their PC? Like, are you able to do like an uptime? On their PC.
Yeah, we've got an MDM agent installed so we can see like basic stuff like that. But to see like their full like processes and stuff, I usually ask them to like send a screenshot or we hop on like a Zoom or something, you know?
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious because yeah, sometimes we would like uptime on people and dear God, their PC hadn't rebooted in like 9 months, 10 months.
Jesus.
And I'm like, yeah, that's not good. Like, I know you don't want to restart your programs and all that sucks and everything, but like real talk, these machines like just aren't coded in a way that like they can be run like that. Cause I'm not kidding. Like there were so many proprietary apps that like, they're not built to be super efficient, you know, like that wasn't the purpose, you know, like we're not talking about working for like Microsoft, which not that Microsoft has, you know, the best on some things, but you know, so it's just like, yeah, you need to reboot like, at least like once a month. Like, come on. Like, I know it sucks, but geez, man, it's just like, imagine
leaving your car on for like 9 months, you know?
Yeah. There's that too. Not to mention like the whole like, fire hazard it could be, you know, leaving it on like that long too. And like, yeah.
So then doing a job like that, especially because I don't have any like on call, mine is pretty like straightforward 9 to 5. Like every now and then if there's something crazy going on, I may work, you know, like an extra hour or something. But like, so how did you manage like doing YouTube and uploading like daily, you know, and having a job like that and also a family too?
So okay. So I didn't, well, the family thing, it was just me and my wife and my dog at the time. Okay. So the kiddo was actually the breaking point. It wasn't like a super serious conversation, and my wife and I don't have like hardly ever like any super serious conversations, but it was a moderately serious conversation of like, hey, you know, he's almost here and I just don't see how you're going to be able to continue to juggle YouTube, a job, you know. Her and I did not hang out a lot, and like that last year, that was me uploading daily on YouTube and working the job. There wasn't a whole lot of like wifey time, like period. There wasn't a whole lot of friend time. There wasn't a whole lot of anything, right? Like there's just not that much time in the day, like just plain and simple. I don't think some people realize that like sometimes there's just sacrifices that have to be made, or you have to decide what is like more important. And it's a little bit selfish, but I decided YouTube was more important. Yeah. So it's just kind of like a little conversation of like, hey, he's about to be here. You definitely need, like, this is kind of like the breaking point. Do you want to like do this YouTube thing and leave on good graces, or do you want to maybe back away from the YouTube thing and focus more on your job? Like, what's up? And so I was like, you make a good point. Like, I'm barely spending time with you. How am I supposed to be there for you with this newborn baby and like all this stuff? So I actually went full-time content creation a week and a half before he was here, or maybe it was 2 weeks. It wasn't 2 weeks because I only got 1 full week of like being like, hey, I'm full time. Like, I don't have a kid. Yo, this is dope.
Yeah.
And then boom, we had kid. So we had that conversation. So I actually went to my boss at the time and I gave him a 2-month heads up.
Jeez.
Like, hey, I'm gonna, yeah, I mean, I'm serious. When I say I loved my job, I did. I loved my job. I loved the people I worked with. And so like, I wanted to give him time to be able to go through the hiring process. I could train my replacement. And also on top of that, like that company had treated me really well and I could leave them like in good graces, you know? So if I needed to come back, cause in my brain, what I always said, you know, the channel was going well. What I told myself is like, even then I wasn't that old. I think I was 26. I think I was 26 when I did that. No, 27, 26, 27, something like that. Anyway. And I was just like, I already have things that like, I kind of regret that I didn't do, you know, when I was younger. And so I'm like, am I going to look back on this at 30 and 40 and just go, why didn't I just do that? Even if it was only for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, why did I not just go so I could say for 6 months I was a full-time content creator? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm leaving on good terms, so I can just come back and do this again later. You know, like if I need to, like my degree's not going anywhere. My 5 years of experience on the job aren't going anywhere. So like, let's do this. But yeah, leading up to that, like I really wasn't doing anything. I wasn't playing games. I would live stream like Dokkan and people like, man, Nano, have you played this? Have you watched this? I'm like, no, bro, I haven't done anything. I've played Dokkan and I've made YouTube videos. I haven't done jack shit. other than that. Well, and the gym. So once you factor in going to work out, being at the office for 9 hours that day, and then making YouTube videos, like there's not time to watch the latest movie or TV show or play the latest game or whatever, unless it was me streaming, then that made sense. But otherwise, no. So and then the on-call thing, it wasn't terrible once I was on the higher end, because again, like it always had to go through someone else before it got to me. So if it got to me, it was probably either something really, really bad. Yeah. Like, oh my God, a server is down. And so I have to go in and like call someone and, figure out what's up. Cause like I was always the direct support to the, frontline support. The other cool thing too, is like, I'm sure you probably have similar, user access depending on how they structure that with the company you work for. But like, essentially working at this company at that particular position, even with obviously people that made more than me and were above me, I had like essentially God mode activated. Like there wasn't really anything I could not do in PCs and in apps. Like in all of the sort of user access settings, like I had the highest level in every app and every sort of everything. So like it was just God mode. So like there would be sometimes like sort of run as administrator, but just for literally everything, right? and so like if there was, there might be some times where I might have to remote in really quick and just try something like as me for them, and then sometimes it would work or something like that. So it wasn't terrible once I got to that level, but because I was at that level, there was fewer of us. So the rotation of being on call was about once a month, whereas when I was at the front line, it was more of like 8, 9, 10 of us. So the rotation of on call was only every like 2 months. So I was on call about once every, essentially I had 3 weeks off, 1 week on. And yeah, that was it was a lot sometimes. It was like a lot. I remember there was one time in particular, something broke on JP Dokkan or something, and I covered it. That's why I was saying like going to sleep at like 2 or 3 and then getting a call. And I remember it. I can't remember exactly what it was I covered, but I remember just getting in bed at like 2:45, had to be at work at 7 a.m. and I get a phone call because one of our admins are locked out of their PC and they're trying to like apply a patch at 3 a.m. and they can't get logged in, and they're panicking and they just need a password reset. But like I'm the only one that was like available, and so like you wear glasses, don't you? Yeah, you wear glasses, but I didn't have glasses at the time. I had lost mine on a trip, and so all I had were contacts, and I'm super blind. Like I'm -7 in both eyes with astigmatism, so I can't see jack. And so I'd already taken my contacts out. I'd lay back down. I'm like, am I really about to have to put contacts in at like 2:52 a.m. right now just so I can see well enough to be able to get in, remote in, and like reset this dude's password? And yeah, sure enough, I did. I was like, I'm seriously putting contacts in at 2:52 a.m. right now to do this, so I can then take them back out, so I can get in bed to only sleep for 3 hours to then go back to work. And it's just like,
Some of that like was so relatable it hurt, but also like it was kind of, I guess, reassuring to know that like, you know, you've been obviously through some of that, like, well, because like obviously, you know, like I understand like, you know, your like bigger content creators, they went through the struggles of like being a smaller creator, but I guess like I feel like a lot of big content creators like blew up while they were in like high school or college, and like, you know, had very minimal time where they were juggling the real life, you know, aspect of it very heavily with like the grind of, you know, that, because I don't really cover Dokkan. I do more Legends and just like Dragon Ball, other Dragon Ball stuff. But like, it's so annoying working like a normie schedule. And then, you know, like usually their stuff drops at like midnight or 2 a.m. or something. It's like, I have my Twitter set up to like notify me every time Dragon Ball Legends tweets.
Yeah, same.
So it's like, I'll wake up in the morning, you know, check my phone. I'm like on the shitter and I'm just like, oh God, you know, new Zenkai, I gotta make a tweet at least, or you know, I gotta do something. And then I come and everybody's already made videos about it. And I'm just like, God damn it, you know?
It's always funny when someone's like, Nano, have you seen this? And it's like, bro, yes, I have so many accounts tagged for tweet alerts. Yeah. Like from official accounts to not official accounts. Trust, I have seen all of it. Like there's very, I mean, it would have to be the most like rare situation where I've not seen a release for something Dragon Ball related. Like I have so many accounts on Twitter that are tagged for status alerts. Sometimes when they're unofficial is kind of annoying because they'll tweet about the most random stuff. Yeah. I'm not going to tell who all I have tagged, but I have a lot of people tagged for status alerts. Just so you know, like that's the only way you're in the know-how for these things. You know what I mean? Like I'm not on Twitter that much to a point to where like you know what I mean? Like I can't know at every second when a new tweet's going to go out that's, I don't know, breaking LR Omega Shinron is in the game or something. You know what I mean? Like I can't know that without having those. And so, yes. But yeah, I agree. There's so many people that I've got to talk to and had the, you know, opportunity to work with that was very fortunate to never, you know, have to sort of work that like 40, 45, 50, 60 hour grind. Like it just all kind of happened, which is super dope for them. But yeah, like it is rare to talk to someone that is also has went through like the like I like how you said the normie grind while also doing content creation. Yeah.
Because I kick myself in the ass sometimes, but sometimes I'm glad it worked out this way. Because like I did have a YouTube channel in high school. It was the StormPow instead of StormPow, and like by the time I graduated high school, like I had like 50K subs and was like making a decent amount of money at that time. This was, I feel like before companies like did sponsorship, like it was straight ad revenue. So it was a little bit harder to like make a living, but I ditched it to go like live a normie life. And then, you know, as I got older and like went into the grind of like real life, I'm kind of like, damn, like this isn't very fulfilling. I need something else. And so I started from scratch, and now it's been extremely humbling though, because it's like, you know, I was some like 17-year-old making more money than a 17-year-old who like played video games should honestly have been making, you know, and all that stuff. Very like, but in theory had like life on a silver platter, like in front. But, you know, I'm also like, no, there was no way that I was mature enough to know how to like handle that. You know, I would have definitely said some stupid shit and like probably either gotten canceled or just like driven my channel into the ground from like making too much clickbait. You know what I mean? Like, some teenagers can get that level of success and handle it well. I don't think I was one of those. So but yeah, and like the whole thing about like, oh, I don't know, or people were like, oh, have you seen this? And I'm like, that hit so hard when you said that, because it's like, I'm always like having to like pick and choose, like, all right, what do I chose to like watch Invincible because I'm like, all right, it's 8 episodes. My wife wants to watch it, so it can count as like some, you know, us time and all that stuff. But I'm like, for the most part though, like new game drops, new movie, new TV show, I'm like, nah, I just, like you said, you just don't have the time. You're just like, I, you know, kind of have my priorities layered, and like most video games, most movies, most TV shows don't make the cut by the end of it, you know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like I still, even now, which I think at this point I've like become like this workaholic, like, and I don't know how to just like relax, which is super unfortunate. But like, I'll have people pop in to like a stream or tweet at me or whatever. And it's like, Nano, have you watched this anime? Have you watched this anime? Have you watched? I'm like, no. I'm going to get onto that. I've been saying for 3 years, 3 years, I think I'm going to watch JoJo's. I'm going to watch Naruto because I never watched Naruto. Like so many things. And I just don't ever get around to Invincible is on my list though. I want to watch Invincible so bad.
I'm glad I didn't say anything because I guess I had assumed that
don't
you had.
No. It is actually because, and like, it's again so relatable here because when I saw it was only 8 episodes, I'm like, wait a sec, I can really knock that out. Like 8 episodes is so doable. Like that's why when people ask me about One Piece, I'm like, bro, you are high as shit because I am definitely never diving in. I can barely watch an 8 episode series. You think I'm gonna be able to make it through a 1,000 episode series? You are crazy. You're crazy. I don't have time. I just don't have time. I can't do it. All right, I'll go watch One Piece, but I'll see you guys in a year and a half. All right.
Yeah, I hope the channel's still kicking in a year and a half of no uploads.
Man.
Yeah, I'm like, if I had that much time, like nothing against One Piece because I don't know anything about it. I've never really tried it, but I'm like, if I had that much time, like there are a million other things that I would like want to / need to do before that, you know?
Yes. There's also that too. I definitely would prioritize many things over watching. Again, I'm not trying to fit anyone that likes One Piece, and I'm sure it's great. A lot of people have been saying it's hitting lately, but there's so many other things I'd rather do. You know, like I'd rather dive back into like World of Warcraft or something than play One Piece, I think.
Surely to God, when One Piece is done, they're gonna make like some One Piece Kai, you know?
Yeah, let's get it. I might tune in then. Give
me the highlights, you know?
Yes.
Surely to God, all 1,000 of those episodes, there's a good chunk that we can take out, you know?
Dude, that's the thing they say look up filler list, and it's like, bro, this took out like 2 episodes.
What the hell?
What? It's not a lot. Like it's actually surprisingly not a lot. Apparently there's so much story you gotta know, you know? But yeah. Anyway.
God. Well, kind of talking anime and also like news and everything like that. So, of course, you know, we do got to talk a little bit about the DBS movie news. I feel like that's pretty poppin' right now. I watched your video where you talked about it a little bit, and like I agree with your thoughts of like I don't think it's going to be about Moro. Like I think if they do introduce Moro into the anime, it's going to be like in the anime. I kind of feel like they're done. Like I think it's going to start going a little bit more like how Z was, where like the anime is its thing and the movies are their thing, you know. But yeah, I mean, beyond that, like what are your thoughts now that we've gotten a little bit more info since then, like the Toriyama post and all that? Like I was expecting more info on Goku Day, I feel like, but you know, it is what it is.
I was afraid. I texted Dino or Rhyme like right before, and I was like, yo, real talk. I was like, what are the chances that these, you know, because Toriyama's little post like leaked early too. And I was like, what are the chances that the only thing they're going to post is Toriyama's little thing? And then obviously the thing of that their movie's coming in 2022 and call it a day. And he's like, that's probably all they're going to do. And sure enough, it was, which I was kind of thinking like 2022, you know, even if it's a early 2022 release, we're still looking at like 8-9 months. Like they're not, companies are learning not to post stuff too early. Like hell, dude, we didn't even get a Mortal Kombat trailer until literally like 6 weeks before that dropped, which actually the trailer was dope. But like, yeah, like, so I was like, yeah, we're probably not going to get a teaser. But now that, you know, in retrospect, and I've seen a lot of people, you know, obviously a lot of people they've got all their characters they want people to bring back. And I'm all for it. But like, if I had to choose one character that they were going to bring back, which I said this in the video and this hasn't changed, period, is Cooler. If I had to choose literally one character, they're only going to ever bring back one character from Z or the movies or whatever, it would be Cooler. I don't know what it is about Cooler, but I've just always really liked him. And I think they could do a lot with him, especially after seeing what they did with Broly and DBS. And to make him like just godlike powerful and make like Broly and you know, Vegeta and Goku all have to like fight him or something. I think that would be just so dope, dude. But I think the other thing too that I really hope happens, this is so deep into fan theory and everything, but you know, obviously with the hint at Broly having some form of potentially a Super Saiyan 4 form would be would be crazy. I mean, it would be so, like, I know there's so many people that, like, SSJ 4 I think might be the most polarizing form for sure in all of Dragon Ball, right? Because not only is it from GT, which I actually have seen a lot of people have really kind of come around on GT. It's weird. Like, I feel like there's more people that like GT now than when it was coming out, right? Like, when we were in like the mid 2000s and end of 2000s and even 2010s, like, GT was trash. But I see more people talk not good about it. Like, no one really ever talks too great about GT as a whole, but I just feel like there's more people that are more accepting of it now. But to think that, like, Broly would go Super Saiyan 4, like, that would be so polarizing. I think that'd be so dope, though. Oh my God, I can't even imagine. But yeah, 100%. I just don't see them doing Moro. I like, the one thing I said in my videos, I mean, what I could see is that if they're really aligning stars, because we haven't got to this point yet, but I don't anticipate a Dragon Ball reveal at E3 this year, because I think they're aligning a lot of stars here for some massive stuff in 2022. And so what I could potentially see is that movie ends with like a quick glimpse of Moro, and it's like the anime is coming back.
I haven't thought about that, but that would be hype as hell.
Yes.
That would be incredible.
I think, and it's super unfortunate too, as a Dragon Ball creator this year, but I think this year is going to be beyond stellar. Like, I don't anticipate literally anything. These mobile games are going to carry the Dragon Ball like IP in terms of probably on YouTube, besides of course fan theories that have always done well. They're always pretty hit and miss, but yeah, I don't anticipate anything actually, which is very, 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 very unfortunate. We're gonna get the Kakarot DLC, and I think that things will be quiet until next year, and then next year 2022 is like the year of Dragon Ball probably, with like, for sure, obviously the movie for sure, but right. I see a new game, like all kinds of stuff. I bet the only real optimistic thing we see out of a Dragon Ball game this year, besides of course Xenoverse getting infinite DLC, would be a Fighter Season Pass 4. But
that'd be pretty hype.
Gogeta's release feels like kind of the finale of Fighters, though. That's the only thing. Like, SSJ 4 Gogeta just kind of feels like the cap on top of it. It's like, all right, we're done with this one. Gogeta's insane. Here you go.
I do kind of feel like that, as much as I would love, because like, I mean, I could like name so many characters I'd love to see in Fighters, you know, that are not currently in it. I do agree. I feel like the way that they did Gogeta was very like finale. Like, they'll save some of those other ones for, you know, Fighters 2 or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Super Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah.
That is just like a rebalance. I mean, that's the thing too, is I don't know how many people are super into like fighting games, but like a lot of these games, they don't release games often, right? Like Tekken 7 has been out for forever. Street Fighter has been out for forever. They just kind of like do some balances to some characters and then re-release it. So it'll probably be called like Super Dragon Ball Fighters, and then it'll have like some new characters. Obviously, the one I would love to see, and I do hope at some point, just with how, I don't play Fighters much, but just how beautiful that game is Majin Vegeta. Seeing Majin Vegeta's Final Atonement done by ArcSys, I just think that's going to be something special. So I hope that happens at some point. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Do you think we're going to see something E3, or do you think we're going to be quiet?
Well, so it's interesting you mention all that, because I think I made a video specifically about E3, and I remember you did something.
I saw that you did. Yeah. No, I saw you made an E3 video. I got suggested it on my personal, speaking of which, actually.
Word.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I think shout out to YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like it's changed a little bit since that video, because at the time of recording that video, like, I kind of got like some of the things we have, like the information and everything. And it was like, Bandai was not going to be at E3, but recently Bandai did sign up to be at E3. So, I mean, that is interesting. I know obviously they do a whole, you know, slew of things other than Dragon Ball, but that was kind of my main thing. I was like, Bandai's literally not even going to be at E3. Like, I was like, I guess Microsoft could announce it like without them. That'd be weird.
Which is what they, well, I mean, whatever weird deal Xbox and Microsoft and Bandai have, where they've gotten like the reveal of the last like 2 or 3 games. I mean, I guess it could still happen. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, I feel like if we do get one this year, it will be like a remake, something a little bit lower effort, I guess, you know, or like a remaster, just with last year setting everything back so heavily. Like, I just really doubt we get like a brand new game, you know? If they did like a Budokai Tenkaichi remaster, I mean, obviously that would sell so incredibly, I feel like, you know, and maybe not be like that heavy. But yeah, because, well, the other thing too, like I was looking at like recent game announcements, and it's like the way that they announced Kakarot. Like Kakarot, I think like it released, what was it, like January 2020, and the E3 like trailer was June 2019. But like a while before that, they were referencing it as like Project Z or something. Like basically, like what I'm getting at is they hinted Kakarot like way before it came out, you know. And I'm just like, we haven't gotten shit so far this year as far as like a teaser or a hint of a new game, you know. So yeah. I think it would be weird for them to not give us a single like peep about anything so far, and then it actually releases in 2021, unless it's like a remaster or something a little bit chiller, you know.
Although my hope and pray is that when they probably at some point give us one of the older games again, I hope it's a remake. Yes. Not a remaster. Like I want them to go the Spyro or the Crash route, where they take like Budokai 2 or Budokai 2. Well, I like 2, but Budokai 1, Budokai 3, Budokai Tenkaichi 3, one of those, and they rebuild it from the ground up, but it's the same game. You know what I mean? Like that would be, oh my God, and give it like online multiplayer. That would probably do pretty good.
Yeah.
That would probably do pretty good.
I made a video recently talking about like Dragon Ball games that need to get remade, and like, cause it had me kind of going back, and I was like, there are so many games that I feel like they could remake, even like Legacy of Goku, if they made that as like a Switch game, like, oh God, yes, that'd be hype, you know, like make it a little bit like more polished, you know, like how Boo's Fury was at the end, but like do that for all three, you know. I'm just like, God, they have so many things they could do, you know.
They do. Yes, they do. That would print money. Just do it, you know, just do it.
Yeah, I'm just so that's my only, like, I guess last Hail Mary hope or whatever for this year on a new Dragon Ball game is some sort of remake. But even then, I'm kind of like, I don't know. It is looking a little grim, which it sucks, because kind of talking about like how I used to do like YouTube. I was doing YouTube during the era of like Raging Blast, Ultimate Tenkaichi, and all that stuff, and then I quit. And then like a year or two after I quit doing YouTube is when like Super came back. Like it was right before Battle of the Gods, the movie, was released, I think. And so like basically, and then I come back right after Super ended and everything, and I'm like, I literally missed like the whole renaissance of Dragon Ball. I'm like, I need something, you know.
Yeah, that's all very unfortunate timing. Holy crap, man. Yeah, dang, like, dude, if you could go back and tell your older self, like, hey, don't stop. Like, we're literally like on the precipice of like God level interaction, impressions, and everything. Because super not being around has been detrimental for sure to just the overall like viewership on YouTube, which makes sense, right? Like, obviously, the way the algorithm works is all built on hype. That's why putting like certain YouTubers that get like higher viewership in your titles usually do better. You know, all that. So if you know, Google as a platform, it's weird robot AI on the background is seeing this mass influx of people caring about Dragon Ball. Not only is the hype more there, so there's more eyes that want to watch more stuff on Dragon Ball, right? But then on top of that, just the overall like trending of it is so much higher. So it's all your content is going to get pushed heavier too. So yeah, that's like very, very unfortunate. But like, you're putting out content right now, so like the second that, you know, everything comes back, like you're getting primed and ready. But yeah, dude, like my growth, we haven't really talked about the YouTube aspect of things yet, but like my growth lately has been god awful. It's been trash. It's been like the worst. Like I've not like in my 4.5 years now of doing this, 5 years of doing this, 5.5 years. My God. I've never seen growth this bad. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, yeah, Dragon Ball is not in an awesome spot. I mean, it's kind of one of those franchises. I think I was talking to Rhyme when I had him on here about it. It was like, I I Googled like basically the top franchises like globally, and Dragon Ball is up there with like Pokemon and Hello Kitty and stuff like that. And so I'm just like, I mean, it's a stable thing to make content on because of that. Like, and the other thing to think about too, and I think he's the one who like mentioned it and made me realize it, is I was like, Dragon Ball was still like pretty hype even like during those days of like, you know, Raging Blast 2 and all that stuff, but the anime had been like inactive for like 10 years practically, or maybe even more. I don't know.
Yes.
At that point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too, is like, it does. I think, yeah, it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, I don't know why I mentioned it when we were talking about the anime, because yeah, I mean, some of my biggest months on the platform have been post Super, and nothing to do with Broly. Although the month that DBS Broly released was massive for me.
Yes.
But
there's definitely a huge spike, definitely when it is active for sure.
Yes. But yeah, that's the thing too. Like the IP itself is just so massive that it doesn't matter. I think we're just in a weird lull because nothing is happening on anything really.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Legends has had some somewhat hype stuff, like you know, with Ultra Goku and stuff like that. But like Dokkan's releases have been mostly pretty mediocre, you know, in terms of like the actual characters themselves, and Legends as well. And Fighters has already ended, and XV2 did their, you know, additional DLC like what, 2.5 months ago now. So we're just in like this weird lull period where literally nothing Dragon Ball related outside of the announcement of, hey, it is going to come back in a movie form. That's it. So we're like in this divot, you know, like, so that's just, yeah. But yeah, dude, the last few months have been very interesting for growth. Viewership is fine. Growth, on the other hand, is a whole different topic.
Yeah, and it changes so much too. I mean, just like the way the like certain things the algorithm goes for, like, you know, like I've been focusing more on like, I don't know, like making the videos like less, I guess, stagnant. Like I was like, which it's hard. It's made me have to upload a little bit less, you know, just because like for a minute I was just basically like straight gameplay, like very minor edits, you know, maybe like a little subscribe button, you know what I mean, here and there, some music and shit, and I'm like, upload, you know, but like the retention was just like not good. And then it's like, so I tried doing more like discussion and like way cutting out the fluff. I ramble a lot if I don't like have some sort of outline. And so even though I hate like writing an outline for a video, I want to just like click record and go. Like the video is not going to be good, you know, and all that. It's, I don't know. It's really interesting though. Like I love looking at the analytics and just like figuring stuff out. Like I recently got TubeBuddy. They don't pay me to say that or anything, but I wish they did, because I would gladly say it. Like I got like the whatever package it is on there, like where they have these really cool analytics. You can see like, basically based off of your thumbnails, like what stuff to include in your thumbnails, like what kind of thumbnails work well for you. I found out that videos that have or thumbnails that have my face in them get a lower click-through rate. And I'm like, well, goddamn, I knew I was ugly, but you didn't have to fucking tell me to, buddy, you know. But it's just interesting stuff.
I never even heard of this before. Interesting. Oh, really? Yeah. No. I had to look it up. I didn't know what this was.
It's like a browser extension, and they have a free version that kind of like gives you a taste of what it is, but like it helps you like with your keywords and all that stuff. So that way, like you can search and it'll be like, all right, this search query is like a lot of people are searching it, not a lot of people are making videos on it, or the other way around. You know, it's like, hey, like there's a ton of videos on this and nobody's even searching it. So like not really worth, you know, making a video on and all that stuff. But yeah, or like I said, the thumbnail thing, like it kind of combines a lot of analytics on your YouTube channel into like a more useful way, you know, like it'll tell you like, you know, in YouTube analytics, you can sort like, all right, these are my most viewed videos or whatever, but this one is more like, all right, these are your videos with the best click-through rate, you know? And so like they even have this thing where it's like, hey, these are your videos with the like a high click-through rate, but a low retention rate, or I'm sorry, the other way around. It's like a low click-through rate, high retention. So it's like this video is good, but nobody's clicking on it because like the thumbnail or the title sucks. So then you just, you know, all right, I can just make a new thumbnail or title, you know, and fix that up. Since the video is good, you know, people like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
No. I get what you're saying. That's dope. I definitely did not realize that was a thing. Interesting.
Hell yeah. But but yeah, it's fun stuff. YouTube's frustrating, but it's also like very satisfying when something does do well. You know, I know you can relate. It's like, you know, you've been through the grind and everything. It's like, and kind of to full circle what we were talking about at the beginning, like you do kind of have to have that like grown up ass like realization where you're like, all right, like, yeah, do I want to do this? Because it's like, as an adult, like it's not, you know, it's harder to make it just like a side thing. It does have to become a bigger aspect. You know what I mean? Cause like your time is a little bit more valuable, you know, like when I was in high school, I could like go to school, like do my homework, record a video and all that stuff, and still like watch anime and play games and all that stuff, you know. But it's like, as an adult, you just can't do I can't imagine if I had a kid, you know. So that's you know, it is definitely crazy.
Nah, yeah, it's a balancing act for sure. Like even like, and that's the thing that is crazy too, is like even going full-time content creator, like I'm somehow still like struggling to have time to do everything that I want to in the day. Like you think it's going to just open up like all this extra time, and then you somehow, or me personally, ways I've filled that extra time with different things that I'm trying to work on. And same thing that like what you said, like I have 2 editors right now that work with me. Well, kind of one right now because one is Toasty and he's like finishing up school. So he's like super like bombarded with things. He hasn't been able to help in a bit, but, so like I want all my videos for sure. When I was working and posting videos were definitely OBS layout, record, stop record, add my intro, add my outro, maybe change the music, you know, depending on what's happening, and then, process, upload, publish. And that was it. You know what I mean? But now it's like, what can we do to make every video feel special for the most part? Like things like today, we're recording this on the day that I uploaded a video talking about the future of Dokkan Legends. And when I was first like trying to think in my head, like how I wanted to do that video, I was like, I think, well, it is probably more boring and actually probably won't have as high as a retention, which I am very curious as to how well the retention is like going to be on this. It probably just makes more sense for it to not be a super heavily edited video, and for me to just kind of talk through like what I'm looking at. But like other things I want to edit and like edit. And how can I make this like more engaging? And some people are going to like that there's so many edits, but then other people will, and it will definitely be reflected on how many views it got. And like, so yeah, so I try to make every video feel special, and every video, like, you know, you want to click and just see what happens and what did we do with this, and like, you know what I mean? So definitely relatable on that front as well.
Yeah, it's such a balance, because you want to make like consistent content to where your viewers like pretty much know what they're getting into, you know what I mean? So that way they like your relative folks, they want to click on it because like, oh, you know, new Nano video dropped. Like I know I'm going to like this because I liked the other Nano videos, but also like, you know, you can only do that so much. Like you gotta, you know, spice it up a little bit, because like, you know, if it all of a sudden quits hitting, like there's got to be something else. It's like there's literally nothing else like it, and that's what I guess draws me to it. I'm just like, it's and there's no exact science to it, you know, but it's a blast. It's a blast, you know.
Yes.
So. But on that note, I think I have asked pretty much everything I had intended on talking about, man. So I appreciate your time on coming out, you know, getting this going, man. Is there anything else you got or anything?
Man, we didn't even talk about Dokkan or Legends or nothing. Holy crap.
I'm like, you're on vacation, man. Like, you know, we can talk about adult stuff. It's weird. Not like I've not done this that many times, but usually it's all these questions about Dokkan or Legends. So like, it was, I don't want to sound bad when I say this, but it was kind of like refreshing, just like talking about other things. So. Yeah, I forget who it is. I'm not taking credit for this saying. It was either Dax Shepard or maybe Philip DeFranco. I forget, or maybe neither of them. I don't know. But somebody referred to like podcasts as like jury duty, and like it's like, you know, you get that email or that DM, and it's just like, all right, I've been summoned. I'm like, which no pun intended, talking about Gacha games, you've been, you know, summoned or whatever. But yeah, it's just like, I'm like, yeah, no. I mean, well, and also I'm just like, I know your thoughts on most of the mobile game shit. I'm like, but let's get to the important stuff like chicken sandwiches, you know?
Yeah. Heck yeah, dude.
So, Well, all right, man. Well, I appreciate it, and we'll see y'all in the next podcast.